So today I want to talk about my 500 hours on CAMBLY teaching and tutoring English, pros, cons, tips, and my experience of it. Let's go. So if you're here, I'm going to kind of guess that you probably know what CAMBLY is, so I won't go into too much detail there. Basically, it's an online English teaching platform that connects English teachers and English tutors with students and people who want to improve their English. So the biggest pro of CAMBLY is also linked directly to the biggest con, and that is number one, how much CAMBLY pays you. So you earn just over $10 an hour teaching on CAMBLY, which is not a lot of money. I don't know about in the US, but in the UK, that works out to below minimum wage. However, the reason this is linked to the biggest pro is that the biggest pro is flexibility. So I did interview with some other English teaching websites, and one thing I kept finding is that a lot of them have minimum hours, minimum time that you have to do in a week. It may be 5 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours. My problem was that I had a full-time job and still do. I'm an English teacher here in this classroom and a couple of other classrooms in elementary school in South Korea. So I didn't want something that was a full-time job, but I also didn't even want minimum hours. I wanted something really flexible. And that is where CAMBLY really beats all others out. You can do 0 hours in a week. You can do half an hour in a week. I've had weeks where I've accidentally ended up taking one trial call and done 5 minutes total for the week. So it really is flexible. So you can see here that the biggest pro, the flexibility, is linked to the biggest con, the pay. You get that kind of flexibility from getting paid less. The other way that flexibility works is that because CAMBLY students are all over the world, you can tutor at any time you like. If you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and think, I'd like a little bit more money, you can go to CAMBLY, turn on the tiny little money funnel, speak to someone and earn a little money. So one thing I would say is that your experience of CAMBLY when you first start will be very different from your experience of CAMBLY when you are a couple of weeks in, or a couple of months in, or especially a few months, or as I am, 500 hours in. When you start out, your job is to meet new people, is to meet lots of new people, and to find out which students you like working with. What you'll then do is build up a roster of regulars. This way your regulars list just becomes a long list of people who you actually quite enjoy talking to. I have some people on my regulars list who I speak to 3 times a week, 4 times a week sometimes, and that's great. But I have some people on my regulars list who I haven't spoken to in months, but then sometimes out of the blue, one of my regular slots will get booked by them. And I end up saying, oh, hey, it's great to see you again. How are you? And then you have a conversation about the last 6 months of each other's lives. And eventually you can, if you choose to, only spend time with these regulars. I do anywhere between 5 and 10 hours a week just after school, and it is entirely regulars. It is entirely people that I have met before who I enjoy talking to and I look forward to speaking with. People talk a lot about priority hours. These are hours where you say, I guarantee that I will be online for X amount of time and I will take calls from anyone. To be quite honest, now that I've had 500 hours on the platform, I can't remember the last time I did a priority hour. All of my classes are pre-booked, are reserved by students, and almost all of those students are regulars. A lot of people aren't sure what you actually do during a CAMBLY session, and honestly, it can be different from student to student. I have students who we just chat, we get to know each other, we talk about each other's lives and how our days are going and things like that. I have students who like to go through articles on websites like Engu and really break down articles. I have students who like to use the CAMBLY curriculum, go through each page carefully, go through each piece of vocabulary, and go through a formal lesson like that. It really changes from student to student. When you build up a roster of regular students, Pro tip, try to keep a regular set of hours, roughly the same time of day. That way your favorite students know when you're online. If you're online at 5 p.m. for an hour one day and then the next day you're only online at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not really going to be able to build up that regular roster of students and build those tutor-student relationships that really make Cambly an enjoyable experience for everyone on the platform. Hi, one day later, I put a shirt on. Just a quick message, if you are thinking about signing up to Cambly, then please think about using my referral code. I'll put it down in the description and in the pinned comment. If you use this code, then Cambly sends me a little bonus. So if you're finding this information useful and this video valuable, then use this code when you sign up and think of it like buying me a coffee. Now back to the video. So the people you can meet on Cambly are really varied. I had an Egyptian farmer who literally just wanted to show me his farm for half an hour every couple of weeks. He'd book a session with me and be like, hey, look, I have new potatoes. And I'm like, I love potatoes. Let's talk about it. There's also one young boy in China who is really fluent in English. He's about 6 years old, but he loves science. And he's kind of become infamous on the Cambly forums of teachers talking to each other because he'll always meet new tutors. And when you meet this boy, you're like, oh, wow, hi, how old are you? Oh, I'm 6 years old. Oh, great. What would you like to talk about today? I want to talk about the exact amount of thrust it takes the space shuttle to get off the ground. And then let's talk about the gravity around a black hole. And you're like, okay, let me just Google all of those things. In fact, one of my first Cambly students was an hour-long call that came through on a priority hour with a doctor in Italy who saw on my profile that I have a degree in philosophy. So he called up and he said, I'd love to talk about philosophy. He spoke great English, so he wasn't really studying English, he was just improving it. And we had a great conversation about philosophy, like a really high-level debate about philosophical concepts, the kind that I remember from university. And it was incredibly fun. It was like the best thing I could think of to start my Cambly experience. So one pro tip I would give you learning from that experience is to say, in your bio, when it asks you what your interests are, write down the things that you really want to talk about, because many students will look at your bio and read through it and say, oh wow, you have a degree in engineering. I really want to talk about engineering, so I'll call you up. If you want to talk about literature, write down, I like to talk about literature. In specific, I like to talk about sci-fi literature set on the moon in 10 years' time. And you will get calls from people say, I love to talk about living on the moon. Let's do that. So I guess I should decide here whether I recommend Cambly. And really, there's no two ways about it. Yes, I do recommend Cambly. Even if you're teaching on another online platform, even if you're teaching in a real school somewhere in the world, you can do Cambly for 0 minutes a day, half an hour in a week, or 26 hours in a week, whatever you want. Honestly, Cambly has been an incredible thing for me. It has improved my conversation skills to no end. It has improved my knowledge of geography and culture and the world around me. I've met some incredible people who I still enjoy talking to. And to top it all off, I've made thousands of dollars through Cambly now, teaching and tutoring English online. So one question that I get all the time is, can I make a full-time living just teaching on Cambly? The answer is yes, but you may want to look into something called geo-arbitrage. Geo-arbitrage is something I have made a full video about, which I will link to up here and down in the description. So if you're looking for something to watch next, feel free to go there. Until next time, Low Drag Lifestyle is about lifestyle design, minimalist travel, and the philosophy at the foundation of it all. If that sounds good, then get subscribed. I come out with brand new videos about this every single week. Hit the like button and leave a comment. I really would like to get to know you. Until next time, thanks everyone.